Okay, good morning, everybody. So welcome to the Infrastructure Services Committee meeting on the 10th of March 2026. Do we have, just like to first of all say that this meeting will be audio recorded and those in attendance should refrain from making any defamatory statements. There are not to be any other recordings of this meeting without prior authorisation of the committee. Any applications for attending the meeting via Zoom?
No.
Any apologies?
No apologies.
Disclosures of interest?
Nil received.
Public participation?
No, there's not.
Okay, so we'll go straight into the business items. So ISC.03.1 Works Program Infrastructure Services Water and Sewer. Graham, take it away.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll just take you through a couple of pertinent points. Second page, our algae levels at Glenbourne Dam spiked at one point in time. Subsequent readings have been well within range. In fact, they were all within range, but that was a spike. We did have some conversations with health over that matter. The water testing of radionucleotides at Merriwar has occurred for its second cycle, and we're now going to do a speciation and some testing of the water treatment plant. That's going to go on in the next couple of months. Our renewal works of water mains at Murrurundi, we've just let a package of work to do some work under the railway line. That's going to occur later this financial year in a shutdown in May. Our decommissioning of the dam continues with modelling, and we look like we're going to be set at 3 metre level in the dam. That should be confirmed in the next few days. Our Doughboy Street, the sale of a land parcel to former tank site in Doughboy Street has got to the point where our legal documents are prepared, and we're sharing those with your person's solicitor, and that should be continuing. And my last point is the last item in the list on page 3, which is about sludge removal. That work at Aberdeen has been occurring over the last couple of weeks. We have removed the sludge from, there are 3 ponds. We've removed the sludge from the first pond and the second pond by the end of next week, and the third pond there's only a small amount which we're not going to undertake as per the contract. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any comments? Okay, then now can I have a move, please? That's a bad second. Thank you, Councillor Ryan. All in favour? You guys pass. So ISC.03.2 infrastructure services, and will be by who's going to?
I'll take this one. Jane's on it. Everyone's on, so I'll put this one for this one. You can see in the KPIs, Capital Works is slightly out of schedule, and I'll talk a little bit about that maybe in the Capital Works report. Maintenance is out of schedule as well, and our customer complaints are on track. 97% of customer complaints or requests are closed within 14 days. I'll take most of it as read, probably just point you to the fact that fair bit happening in our road maintenance contract on the Golden Highway with reseals occurring at the moment. This is the time of year we get most of our reseals finalised. So that's happening. There's a few photos there. And you'll notice that under our betterment program, most of the betterment projects are completed. And we're progressing with items points 3 and 4 further down with the storm events from 25. Most of those applications are now being assessed by the department. So there's $4.8 million in the related storm event costs for 18th of May, and there's another $5.7 million related to the 31st of July. We can't start those emergency works until we get confirmation of that funding, so we need to wait for that.
So for those called emergency works, we have to wait for the funding. Any questions or comments on this? Councillor Ryan.
Thank you. A couple of questions without notice, but they're pretty broad. First of all, with regard to Bunnan Road, MR62, I note the resale work that's been completed there, and I know that we have some further works in train subject to funding. I'm just wondering whether we just get a broad overview of what the plan is with MR62 moving forward. And the second part of that is just to do with the remediation of the works that have been completed. I understand that that's in train, but yeah, if you just get an overview of what's happening there as well, that'd be great.
Sure, through Madam Chair, probably over the last 5 years, we've been doing aggressively works along Main Road 62. The most recent piece was at Balls Bridge in a westerly direction towards Maryborough. There's been some cracking occurred in that section, so that's a lightly stabilised pavement, which means that they do mix lime into strengthen the gravel and create a stronger pavement. If you over stabilise, that can occur, can result in cracks. We don't think that's the case in this instance, because the cracks are from very, very coarse sub pavement. That was work done by our contractors. So we're just investigating that now, trying to come up with, I guess, a remediation solution to that. I think in regard to the other works we've done, further reseal works further west of Motoring Hut Gully as well. That's been undertaken probably in the last 12 months. So an exact date for that piece of work. Probably the 5Ks immediately from Maryborough towards Scones, probably the worst section of Main Road 62 now, having completed most of the other sections progressively over the last few years. We're doing our budget now. I can't give you a figure off the top of my head as to how much will be allocated to next year's budget, but if we might bring that back in a subsequent report. I think just to give you a bit of a heads up, but certainly I've seen quite a big improvement of 62 over the last 4 or 5 years.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's exactly what I was looking for. That's great. The maintenance schedule for the sealed roads, the unsealed roads, to the right page here. I note that the grading schedule for October, November, December, and then January, February in the Maryborough district has a lower level of completion. I also acknowledge that they are R3 and R4 roads in the main, and they're done on priority. What's the process for, and I know that in the other areas they are all mainly R2 and R3 that have been completed. Yeah, just a bit of an overview, but for anybody that might ask the questions, particularly in relation to those R3 and R4 roads, what's the process of trying to catch up with those, accepting the fact that it's done on an as-needs basis?
Yeah, so probably the first thing to point out is it's not because they're in Maryborough that they haven't been done. It's the classification. Councillor say yes, you're right, it's the R3 and the R4 status, which generally means it's servicing a lower number of properties, which means it has lower traffic volumes. I understand the Rural Roads Committee met last week, and part of the process of the Rural Roads Committee is to review that R1 to R4 classification, R1 being the highest, R4 being the lowest. I guess we have a fixed limit of grading that we can do on an annual basis. We have a fixed budget and fixed number of plant items, so we need to prioritise the R1s and R2s first, and that's the way it's done. R3 and R4 will get attention if and when they get to a stage where they're really, really bad. One of the things that has improved probably since the 21-22 flood events is the use of more computer assisted data. So we've got the RAPIS scheme, which does provide us with good actual technical data rather than just visual data as well. We're not just running by seat of the pants or what a particular person thinks is wrong. We actually have data to back it up. So we are using a lot of that. Unfortunately, with the current budget though, there won't ever be a time in the foreseeable future where those R3 and R4s get a regular grade. There will always be, I guess, a priority with the R1s, the R2s, and then the 3s and 4s will be done as we will be.
I think it's also we need to know that those roads are really short. We've got a 400-metre road and you've got a 1.7 kilometre road, so they're quite short. Also with the rain that we've had in some areas, I think that's played a major part. I do like to say though, Wading Road's just been done and it's fantastic, the Sendville need. We had a lot of rain in January, none in February, very little, but there are some great works going on, but it's great fun. Thank you for your question. Councillor Ryan, any other points, questions, discussion? Yes, councillor.
Yes, through the chair, to the general manager, there's a good news story here, we should shout it. The culverts, the causeways, coupled with the bridges that we did a couple of years ago, there's some really good news stories here that we really need to promote.
Agree, councillor, once the final causeway's done, we're going to do a photo shoot and we'll do something with our Facebook page. So,
Okay, so could I have a move, please? Councillor Ryan, second councillor Tolson, all in favour? The ayes have it, thank you. So please turn to page 17, ISC.03.3, and you would like to take this.
yes, so Madam Chair, absence of the director, I'll be the acting director today. The capital works program is a much smaller program than it has been in the past years, with the completion of Main 358 now, but you'll see there of the $21 million expenditure or budget to date, we've actually expended 23 million. So we're 108%, which means that we're ahead of program. Just to point out though, that $2 million extra doesn't mean we're over budget by $2 million, it just means we're ahead of budget by $2 million. So we are still on target to meet the revised budget figure of 34 million by the end of the year. But the truth is that we are slightly ahead because that just gives us a little bit of float up our sleeve if we do get some bad weather for the Happy to take questions on the program. You can see the attachments, predominantly most projects are on track, on budget. But if there's specific projects that councillors wish to ask questions about, if we can answer them, we will. Otherwise, we'll take them on those.
Anyone? Councillor Ryan.
Through the chair, the Maribor Town Beautification Project, the funding source for that was SCCR5. When I look down at the key for that, is that there's SCCF? Or I can't see an SCCR there. I was just wondering what that source was first.
Are you looking at the table, councillor, with the main projects on?
The Granson, attachment number 1, Granson Capital Works Delivery Spreadsheet.
It's a line or page.
Third line down, Greg.
Yeah. We're just trying to identify the funding source summary. What that acronym is.
Yeah, listen to the other stuff as the answer. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so the context of that, though, I'm asking that was that there was 200,000 allocated to that budget. The project's completed under budget. Numbers was 124,000. So has that project been acquitted and there is no further funds? I think it's subject to what the funding source was, which is why I asked that question first.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Through you, Madam Chair. My recollection was we did take that back to Maribor CAC. They were identifying a couple of projects to utilise the remaining couple of thousand or $20,000 what it was remaining.
Yeah.
And I thought they had identified some Main Street improvement projects. I just can't recall exactly off the top of my head where it was. That to the CAC.
There was some seating and
Seating gardens,
those
those
sort
sort
of
of
things.
things.
So in effect, it's substantially completed, but there may be some residual works and small projects still going on.
Just so the odds just tidy up.
And I guess the corollary to all that is when we do expend, whatever we do on the projects that are allocated, once that grant gets acquitted, I'm assuming at this stage that is a grant. That if we don't fully expend it, we probably haven't been paid up front anyway, but we would remit whatever was left over.
Correct. So most of the grants, as we've sort of discussed, occasions, we'll get quite a lot of it up front, but the last portion is retained by the funding body. We have to make a final withdrawal to get the last piece out. So if we don't spend the full amount, it just means a smaller final payment to us at the end of the day. If it's our own internal funds, we would probably just keep any underspend and bring it back in as savings.
Thanks, Rick.
Okay, anything else? Okay, I'll move please. Councillor Clark, thank you, seconded. Councillor Colson, thank you, all in favour?
Aye.
The ayes have it, thank you. So we're going to move to ISC.03.4, Castellar Sewerage System Project Update, I believe that's Siobhan. No? Great, sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I've only got one significant item that's occurred and it is significant. The reticulation works on part of the contract, which is about $4.5 million, is on the critical path. We've been working on that for several weeks or months at this point in time. We have let that tender for works. That was let last week, and that was a bit of preparation in going through the detail. There is a pre-tender meeting on the 18th of March, and that tender closes on the 15th of April, where it'll come to council. There'll be about 2 months of before it gets to council, and then that will be awarded. So we're looking for a some works to start then, but that's principally the work that's occurred in the last week.
Thanks.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Following so mover. Councillor Cloud, seconder. Thank you, Councillor Ryan, all in favour? The ayes have it, thank you. ISC.03.5 now it's so it's Castellar's footbridge project update, thank you.
So Chair, there's a few updates for the Castellar's footbridge that we had over the past month. We've got the geotech investigation report gone through, as well as the REF for the project. We have the level 3 inspection by the structural engineer for the existing Castellar's footbridge in response to community queries regarding the integrity of the bridge. Verbally was communicated that he's happy with the current condition, and the overall opinion was that the bridge would not require a replacement as of date. That's still to come through in the form of a official report. But in response to the queries, we proposed changing the pier alignment of the footbridge. Initially, the piers were at equal spans of 15 meters each, but now to address the community concern about the debris buildup, we are proposing the piers to be alternated, resulting in 3 spans of 30, 30 and 15. That will give us a bit more space, and if in the future the existing bridge is also renewed, we can adopt the same configuration there as well. With the concept design, so we're still waiting on the concept design with this change to come through from the designer, and once we get that, we can proceed with the tender, and we aim to have the tender out this month.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Any comments or questions? I think it might be nice once it's done to have on the sign that it was actually an idea from the CAC, because I think people sometimes wonder where the ideas come from, so it might be nice to make sure that's acknowledged. Could I have a move, please? Thank you, Councillor Cloud, second. Thank you, Councillor Colson. All in favour? Thank you. Okay, so we have one more item, and it is questions taken on notice. We just need to note if there were any other questions.
I can report that the grader Rundle passed my front door yesterday morning, and the grading up on Vegas River Road has happened. Thank you.
Yeah. Would I have a move, please? Thank you, Councillor Colson, second. Councillor Cloud, all in favour? Thank you. Before we go, I'd just like to say there's one agenda item that we no longer have, and that is our MR 358. Jeff wasn't here last month for the last one, so I'd just like to thank him for all the hard work, and I'm sure he's quite glad that there's no, I mean, for reporting on that.
Well, not yet, never know.
No, please.
Might never be over.
And just thank you so much for all the work. This fantastic. We're gonna finish this meeting at 11:50 and